Hi everyone, welcome back to the online English learning. For today's topic, we are gonna talk about third conditional sentence. After learning the second conditional sentence in the previous meeting, now we go on to the third conditional sentence. I'd like to remind you again about the use of second conditional sentence so that you won't be confused to differentiate it with third conditional sentence that we are studying today. Well, second conditional sentence is to talk about a present situation that is impossible to happen. So it's like an imagination. For example, if there were no coronavirus, we would not have an online class. But what's the reality now? The reality is that there is coronavirus, so we have online class. So once again, second conditional sentence is used to talk about present situation that is impossible to happen or it's only imagination. What about third conditional sentence? We will see the functions of third conditional sentence. First of all, you should know the form. Third conditional sentence consists of two clauses, if clause or the condition and the main clause or the result. If clause consists of if plus subject plus had and verb 3. Had plus verb 3 is actually indicating past perfect tense. And then for the main clause, we have subject plus would plus have plus verb 3. So it is quite important for you to know and to remember the third verb, because in formulating the third conditional sentence, both if clause and main clause are using verb 3. Let's see the example. The first one, if you had worked harder, you would have passed your exam. In the if clause, we find if and then subject you and then had plus verb 3 worked from the verb 1 work. While in the main clause, we have subject you and then would have plus verb 3 past from the first verb pass. What about the next sentence? If it had rained, you would have gotten wet. If in the if clause, we have subject it and then had plus verb 3 rained, while in the main clause, we have subject you, would, have, and verb 3 gotten from the first verb get. While the next example is using negative sentence for the if clause. How to make negative form? We just need to add not after had. For example, if you hadn't lied to me before, I would have believed you. After subject you, we have verb had and then not plus verb 3 lied from the first verb lie. while in the main clause we have subject I, would, have, plus verb 3, live. What's the function of third conditional sentence? It is used to talk about something in the past that didn't happen. So, there is always some implications of regret with type 3 conditional sentence. What's the meaning of regret? In bahasa, we can translate it penyesalan. Therefore, the reality is the opposite of or the contrary to what the sentence expresses. Let's see the example. If I had worked harder, I would have passed the exam. If, and then subject I, had, plus verb 3 worked, and then for the main clause we have subject I, would have, plus verb 3 past. If I had worked harder, I would have passed the exam. The meaning or the reality, I didn't work hard and I didn't pass the exam. So there is like a regret. Jika saja saya bekerja lebih giat atau belajar lebih giat, saya akan lulus ujian. But realitinya, saya tidak belajar dengan sungguh-sungguh sehingga saya tidak lulus ujian. The next example. If I had known you were coming, I would have baked a cake. In the if clause, we have if, subject I, had plus verb 3 known, while in the main clause, we have subject I, would have plus verb 3 baked. If I had known you were coming, I would have baked a cake. In bahasa, we can translate it. Jika saja saya tahu kamu datang, saya akan membuatkan kue. What's the reality? Saya tidak tahu bahwa kamu akan datang, sehingga saya tidak membuatkan kue. And the last one. I would have been happy if you had called me on my birthday. Saya akan bahagia jika kamu menelponku di ulang tahunku. But what's the reality? Pada saat ulang tahun, kamu tidak menelpon saya sehingga saya kurang bahagia. Well, hopefully it can make you clearer about the function of third conditional sentence. Like in the second conditional sentence, we can also reverse the order. So we put the main clause at the beginning of the sentence and then it is followed by the if clause. So the pattern would be subject plus would plus have plus verb 3 and then if, subject, had and verb 3. For example, you would have passed your exam if you had worked harder. You would have gotten wet if it had rained. I would have believed you if you had not lied to me before. So, in those examples, main clause are located at the beginning of the sentence and then they are followed by if clause. And one thing that you also need to remember, if we put main clause at the beginning, we don't need to put comma after the main clause. Next, using modal could or might instead of would. So in some situation, we can use could or might instead of would. For example, If you had caught the bus, you could have been on time. While for might, if I had worked harder, I might have passed the exam. The last one, about contraction. Both would and had can be contracted to it, which can be confusing if you are not confident with type 3 conditional sentences. Remember two rules. Would never appears in the if clause. So if it appears in the if clause, it must be abbreviating had. The second rule. Had never appears before have, so if it appears on a pronoun just before have, it must be abbreviating would. For example, if I'd known you were in hospital, I'd have visited you. So, it is not found in if clause. Therefore, it that we find if in if clause is actually the abbreviation of had. If I had known you were in the hospital, I would have visited you. The next example, I'd have bought you a present if I'd known it was your birthday. This sentence is actually the is using the abbreviation from I would have bought you a present if I had known it was your birthday. Alright, that's all for our topic today. Hopefully you can understand this well. See you